Hello friends, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll learn about AWS Systems Manager. So agenda for this video is understanding the Systems Manager, the System Manager services, SSM agent, and then we will have a lab or a demo on Systems Manager. Let's understand what is AWS Systems Manager. AWS System Manager is as a service that you can use to view, control your infrastructure on AWS. System Manager helps you to perform basic operational activities on AWS resources such as remote login, patching, remote command execution, bulk tagging, and package distribution. Okay, so let's take an example. You have hundreds of EC2s and you would like to execute a particular command on all the EC2 instances. How would you do that? The one way is you log into each of these EC2 and go and execute that particular command, right? Which is a time consuming process, as well as it could also lead to an human errors, right? Whereas Systems Manager will help you to execute that particular command without even logging to each of these EC2s, as well as you will also get to know the status whether the command has executed successfully or no. The same way, remote login. For example, you want to log into an EC2 and try to do something. How do you do that? So you have to find a PEM file of it, log in, use some of the utilities like putty or similar to the putty tools, and then you log in and you should know the credentials. Then you will log in and you perform certain activities, right? So if you want to do it instantly, take a remote control of that particular EC2 and do certain activities. How do you do that? Systems Manager will help you to do that. The same way, it also help you to do the patching and bulk tagging. For example, you have a group of services, not just EC2. You also have other services such as S3 or any other service that maybe you may be using for your projects, right? And you want to give a tag stating that these are all the services are related to a project one. How would you do that? So manually, if you try to do, you have to go to each of the service and then you have to enable the tagging for that. Systems Manager will help you to do the bulk tagging. And then package distribution. For example, you have an agent to be installed, a certain software to be installed on all the EC2s, hundreds of the EC2s. How would you do that? Then your Systems Manager will help you in that as well. So to perform all these basic operations, the System Manager will help you to do that. The services that I have listed or the examples that I have listed here are very minimal. System Manager does more than what has been written here as well. System Manager is there in the AWS system from quite some time. It used to call as SSM, that's Amazon Simple Systems Manager, and recently AWS changed its name and called as AWS Systems Manager. Some of its capabilities, I said System Manager has a lot of capabilities. Some of its capabilities or all these capabilities have been grouped under different buckets. So it has operations management, application management, actions and change, instances and nodes, and shared resources. So it has so many capabilities included as part of a bundle of System Manager, and they have been categorized like this. For this particular demo and for this particular video, we are limiting ourselves or we are restricting ourselves to only few of the AWS System Manager services. One is the managed instances. We will come to know how to get an instance in under the management of System Manager by installing an agent or by enabling an agent. Session Manager, we will see how to take a remote session of a EC2 without even knowing the without even having a PEM file of it. How do we execute a remote command? How do we do the compliance and the patch management? And then finally, we will end up in doing a distribution as well. We'll try to install a package remotely to the managed instances. But to do all these things, you need to have an agent. System Manager is an agent-based solution. It means any resources that you want to manage under System Manager has to have a agent, and that agent is called as an SSM agent. as it used to known as SSM earlier. So the agent is still known as an SSM. So you need to have an SSM agent to have the management under the system manager. One good thing about SSM agent is system manager can have the instances not only from AWS, you can also have the management on your on-premises. So I can have this SSM agent installed on your on-premise servers, on your virtual servers, and you can manage them under your system manager. So the same functionalities that we said, the session manager or the run command or the patching or the compliance can be executed even on the on-premise or the virtual servers that you have it on your on-premise. SSM agent, so it can be installed on Amazon EC2 on-premise servers and virtual machines. SSM agent, one of the good thing about SSM agent is it is pre-installed on many of the AMIs, many of the operating systems that AWS brings to you. For example, Amazon Linux, the first version, 2017-09 and later edition, any Linux, Amazon Linux EC2s that you create, it has a pre-built SSM agent installed. Linux 2, Ubuntu, and Amazon ECS optimized instances. So these instances already have the SSM agent already installed. We will log in, we will launch a server and we will log in and see how this SSM agent looks like and whether it is really installed or not. You can also do a manual installation of SSM agent on other EC2s. For example, you go ahead and launch any other service, or maybe it is a custom AMI where you do not have an SSM agent, you still have a possibility of having it installed manually. The SSM agent, the name of the agent is called as an Amazon-SSM-agent. This is what you will see even in the EC2s when you log in and check for the agent status. The downloadable path, as we said, for certain AMIs it is inbuilt. It means AWS has already included the agent as part of the EC2 or the AMI. For certain AMIs it is not available. For those things you can download from here and you can install it. The Windows version of the SSM agent is also available for the download. The one that I have listed is only the Linux version of it. Linux service operations, so you can start the service, you can stop the service, you can check the status, and the name of the agent is Amazon SSM agent. It maintains the log files in the var file in the var folder of the Linux machines. Then agent service role is Amazon EC2 role for SSM. So why this role is important? Because your SSM manager is executing the remote commands, is trying to take a connection, bypassing all the other restrictions, right? So it is agent and server based communication. So you need to give a appropriate privilege or appropriate authorization for an SSM manager to go and do the activities on that agent, right? And that's why you require a role, and the role that is required is called as an Amazon EC2 role for SSM. So this particular role is already policy is already available. You need to create a role and use this policy apply to that particular role and then assign it to the EC2. Now we will quickly jump onto the demo and we will see how to work with this SSM agent. In this particular demo, we will log into the EC2 to check the SSM agent. So we will create an EC2. I currently do not have any EC2s running. So I'll create an EC2 and we will see that. Check the running status of an agent, create and attach the required role. Check if the instance is part of the system manager, whether it comes as part of the managed instances. Then we will try to run a command remotely. Then we will take a remote session without a third-party tool such as Putty. Then we will check the patch status. Sorry for the spelling mistake here. It's a patch status, compliance and updating the patch. And then finally we will try to distribute a ready package to EC2. So we'll do all these activities as part of this particular demo. Please note that as part of this demo, we assume that you already have a knowledge on AWS console and other services such as EC2 and IAM. Please refer to our other videos if you want to learn more about these services. We do not cover basics of these services in this video. So for this particular demo, I'll just keep it here just for the steps sake, and I will go to my Chrome browser where I have already logged in into my AWS. So this is my account and this is the region. So I'm currently working in the Mumbai region. I will go to EC2, and if I look at the status of the running instances, I do not have anything, right? So if I go to click on the instances, I do have a couple of them, but they are in a stop mode. I do not have anything as such, right? So what we will do now, we will go to, I'll just open up another tab and we'll try to open the Systems Manager. To do that, I'll go to Services and I will type System, and the Systems Manager appear here. If you already opened it, you will get it in the history. Now currently I do not have it in the history. So I will open it in the Systems Manager. And now, as you can see, there are several features available with System Manager. So operations management, application management, actions and change, instance and nodes, and shared resources. So there are many services those have been implemented as part of the Systems Manager. We are not going to do all the demos today because it will take a very longer time. We will have other videos to cover the rest of the features of System Manager. Now we will work with instances and nodes. The first thing is we will check if there are any instances part of the Systems Manager. So I'll just click on this manage instances. Get started. I'll just click on this get started. Sorry for that. Close this window. Let me reopen it. So it says currently we do not have any of the systems as part of the Systems Manager, and that's the reason why we are getting this. Okay, so we need to have how it works is you have to verify the prerequisite, install an SSM agent, configure the instance role, and then finally you will get that particular instance as part of this list. Since we do not have any systems part of the system management, it is not, it is just giving this welcoming screen. So we'll go back to our EC2 and we will launch an instance, and I will choose an Amazon Linux one. So I said 2018, this is 2018-03, and I said any AMI of Amazon which is after 2017 already has an SSM agent. So let's launch this and log in and see whether it already has an agent. So I'll just go with the default one. I don't change anything. I just say add storage. I'll go with the default one. I won't change anything. I'll give a name, tag name as SSM test. I'll call it as SSM test server 1. I'll go to configure this one. I'll go to my default security group. I already have it called as Linux, which open 3 ports 80, 22 and 443 from anywhere. I'll review and launch, and I'll say launch. Now it will ask me for the PEM file. I have a PEM file already created, so I'll just click and launch instance. And as I'm telling you that we do not cover how to launch an EC2 and how to create a role as part of this particular demo. We are assuming that you already know those services. So if you want to learn more about this EC2 and IAM, please feel free to go to our other videos and learn about them before this video. So this is the SSM test. It is in a pending state. Maybe next few seconds we will get it online. Yeah, it is in the running state. So I'll just take the IP address of it. I will go to my putty. and I will load the saved AWS session with the PEM file that I have created earlier, and I'll give the host name and I'll say open. Yeah, and I will go to EC2 user, the default username of an EC2, and I will elevate my privileges to the root. Now I am in root account. The first thing that we will check is whether the agent is already installed. We said all the AMIs, certain AMIs of AWS, including Amazon 1, Amazon 2, as well as Ubuntu version, are pre-installed with SSM agent. So let's check whether we already have those agents installed. So what is the command for that? If I have to go back to my slide, so the command is sudo. You can leave sudo, you can say start status, right? Stop and status. So let me just copy this and put it here. Yes, it is running, correct? Can you see here? It is running, the SSM agent is running. So any AMI, Amazon AMI that you take after 2017, that has an SSM agent already installed. So this already has an agent, right? But still it is not coming as part of my under the managed instances. Why? Because of the third thing. One is you do not have any role assigned to this particular EC2. Unless and until there is a role, this agent will not be able to communicate with the systems manager, right? So let's create a role. So I'll open up another tab here and I'll go to services and I'll go to IAM. You can type IAM here, or you can go to under history and you can click on that. I'll just choose here IAM and I will go to roles. Let's create a role here. So let me repeat. So under the role, I already have several roles here created for different demos and usage. So I'll just create role here and I will choose EC2 as my use case. Let's say next permissions and I will type SSM here. And there is a first thing that you need to choose, Amazon EC2 role for SSM, right? So this is the one that you need to use as a role. Then I'll say next tags and I won't give tags. I'll say next review. I'll give a role name and I will call this one as EC2 SSM role and I'll say create role. Now the role is created. Okay, now we need to assign this role to our EC2. I'll come back to the first tab and I'll choose the EC2. I'll go to actions, instance settings. I'll say attach replace IAM role. And now I will choose this EC2 SSM role that we just created and I'll say apply and I'll close. It got applied and I'll close that. Now if I click here and come to the description of it, IAM role, you can see that it has been attached. Now we will go to the server and we will try to stop and start that. Because after the role you need to stop it and then restart it so that it starts communicating with the systems manager server. So we just stopped it and started. Let's come to system manager and we will see if we have it available here, and there we go. I just refresh the screen and you'll see that we have it listed under our managed instances. Okay, and you'll see this is ping status is online, it's able to communicate, and agent version and computer name and then association status and then EC2 instance and config. So we have it ready, correct? So this was our first activity where we created an EC2 instance. We checked whether the SSM agent is already installed or not, and then we created a IAM role. We assigned that role to the instance, and as soon as we assigned and restarted the service, we started getting as part of our managed instances. Okay, so let's try to do something with this. So I'll just scroll down and the first thing that we will do is let's use session manager and I will show you what is session manager. So session manager, as I explained earlier, session manager is a it will help you to take a remote control of this particular EC2. Now, as you have seen that if I need to take a control, sorry, if I need to log into this particular server, this SSM test server, what I need to do, I need to take the public IP address of it, yeah, and then I need to identify what is the PEM file of it. Then I need to identify what is whether the security group is enabled or no. Then I have to come back and open a tool such as putty on a Windows. On a Linux based clients, you already have an SSH client already installed, so you need to, in the case of Windows, you need to convert your PEM file into a PPK file and then add it into the putty session, and then you need to start. So you need to do all these activities, right? At least for the first time you need to do all these activities, and later stage you just need to take the IP address and keep putting it on the putty and just open it, right? So is there a better way? I said system manager will help you to do that, right? So I'll come to system manager and I'll say start session. Then it will ask me which is the server. You may be having 100 servers, so all the 100 servers will be listed down here. So you can choose that. You can search as well here. If you have hundreds of the servers, you can search on their IAM role, on the instance ID, instance name, and everything. Now currently we have only one, so I'll just choose that and I'll say start session. Yeah, can you see I have already logged in? It is already logged in as well. It didn't even ask me for the credential because the user that I have, the I logged in into the AWS account as a root, right? And this root already has an access to work with SSM, right? And that's the reason why it did not even ask for an a credential to log into this EC2. So it directly logged in. So I'll say sudo su here, elevated. I'll elevate my permissions. Now I became a root. Let's see if we can install something. M install httpd and I will say give y silent. Yes, there we go. See, from here I'm able to install. Let's try to remove something. Yeah, there we go. I can do all the administration activities from this particular session. Then I will terminate as well. And if I just have to go back here, it will show you how many sessions are currently running. See here, this session is currently connected. So just as an administrator, when you see that there are certain activities which are running, you can go ahead and you can terminate yourself as well, right? Or I can terminate from here. So I'll say terminate and terminate. And now if I refresh, I don't have any sessions running. Okay, as you being an administrator, if you want to see how many sessions are being using by your other users, you can see from these sessions. They should show the running live sessions. Okay, now what we did, we went ahead and took a remote session of that particular EC2. Now you may be wondering, or you may be thinking that all my ports are open as part of my security group, and that's the reason why I am not able to, why I am able to connect, right? So we'll do one thing. I'll just close this session again. I'll go to my security group. I'll just scroll down and you can see the security group as Linux, right? And if I say view inbound rules, it has port number 22 also open, which is for SSH. So we'll do one thing. We'll go to Linux and let me remove that SSH. I'll delete, and I'll save it. Yep. And now let me try logging it using putty. No, we are not able to connect. The reason is from security group, we have removed the SSH permission. Now you will not be able to take a remote session using an SSH because we blocked this port, network error, connection time dot, right? So I'll just close it. But let's go back and check from our AWS, from our system manager, whether we'll still be able to connect to that. I'll say start session and I'll choose the server that I have and I'll say start session. Yes, I still be able to log in. So your systems manager, because it's an agent and server based communication, it does not have dependency on the security group. The system, another advantage of this is, even if your server is in a private subnet of an VPC where it doesn't have a public IP, even in that case, you still be able to connect to that server or take a remote session of that server using the systems manager. Fine. So that is one of the advantage that you have. You don't, from your console itself, immediately you can take a remote session and perform the activities that you really want to do. Now I'll go back and I will, now let it be like that. So I'll go to run command and let's try to execute a command. Okay, and there are no commands running. I'll just say run command. Then the run command will give you so many options. Like, it has many things. As a pre-built command, it has many things. For example, you can apply a chef recipes, you can apply a patch baseline, you can apply install application. There are a lot of things that you can do. So these are inbuilt applications or the commands, a set of commands which are already available for you to go and write. You cannot customize them, you cannot change them, right? So you have something called as, so I'll go to the next slide. You have something called as uh, see, there are Windows based commands as well. There we go. This is called as a run shell script. Okay, in the case of Windows, you can choose run PowerShell script. If you have a long script, for example, you want to do certain activities with a long script with multiple commands and all, you can use for Windows you can run PowerShell script. For Linux you can use a run shell script. So I'll choose this. When I choose this, sorry, that's the documentation. I'll choose this, and when I click on that, I should not click here, I should click on this option button or radio button, and then it will ask you document a version if you want to maintain the version of this particular command that you are executing. And here is the command. So you have the complete IDE. Either you can copy paste your content or you can start typing here. So let's do one thing. Let's try to create a file with an echo command. Echo, I'll say uh, welcome to AWS Systems Manager, and I will write that into a file here in under tmp slash under tmp, and it is a sample file. I'll call it as sample.txt. Okay, then let's also execute another thing. uh, Hope this is interesting, and I will, this time I will append to temp slash sample.txt, same file. Okay, and I'll scroll down, and then it will ask work directory if you have anything, then execution time, I mean the maximum time that you can give, then which are your targets. You can specify the instant tags. So you may be having 100 servers. Out of 100 servers, you want to pick only certain EC2s based on your instance tags. You can do that. Otherwise you can choose it manually. In our case we have only one server, so I can choose it manually as well. Otherwise you can choose a resource group. Resource group is nothing but a bundle of multiple EC2s grouped together for a certain on certain conditions. So in this case I will choose manually. I'll choose this. Okay, and scroll down. If there are any comment and all, you can write here. There is a timeout as well, and then there is a rate control, concurrency, how many targets and all. As I said, this what we are doing is only for one EC2. Imagine a situation where you have hundreds of the EC2s and you want to execute this command to all the EC2s simultaneously, right? And this is where the rate control, how many EC2s you want to do it concurrently, and error threshold and all. right? You just scroll down here. If you want to output the enable to S3, you want to capture the output whether the command has successfully executed or no, what was the error and all, you can send it to S3. I do not want to do that, or you can also make it to CloudWatch output. So you can send a command and you can send a command and you will also it will send a log to the CloudWatch stating that uh, what is the output of it, what command has been executed. So I do not want to do that. You can also go ahead and do the SNS notification. If I mean on the success or on the fail of this particular command, you will get a notification using an SNS service of AWS over email. So I'll just say run command now, and it is in progress, and I'll just say refresh, and it is success, right? So what we did, we executed a very small command on one of the server, and the same command can be executed on hundreds of the servers as well, right? So you'll get the report as well. So targets 1, completed 1, how many errors, how many delivery timed out. Okay, you'll get to know all these things. So what we will do now, we do not have SSH, right? So let's go to session manager, and let's try to start a session there. I'll log in here. It's a start session. We'll elevate my credentials, and where did we write? We wrote it in temp, right? So if I say ls, there is a sample.txt. If I say this one, the 2 lines, welcome to AWS Systems Manager, and hope this is interesting. So how long it took? It probably take few seconds just to execute this particular command. So it could be a larger script as well, and based on the time that you are, based on the commands that you are executing in that script, it may take whatever the time that is actually required. But ultimately these commands will get executed or attempt to get executed on all the managed instances, right? And you will get a report as well. Fine. uh, then we will see um, the compliance. So we also have an inventory here. Let me just quickly show that. Inventory report may not be that attractive, because we have only one instance. Otherwise, if you assume that you have hundreds of the EC2s, if I just by clicking an inventory of it, you will get to know the different versions, the different operating systems that you have and everything. The entire inventory about that particular EC2 will be visible here. So it will also show you, which are the different components of the AWS, how many are enabled and disabled with SSM, and then custom inventory types. Then you have top 5 OS versions. Like you probably have a combination of Windows, Linux 2, Ubuntu. Then it will display the number of servers as well, saying that Amazon Linux AMI is 1, Ubuntu could be 2 servers, Windows could be 10 servers, and all that. Then server roles, 5 applications. So as I said, this report may not be looking as attractive now, because we have only one instance. But if you have more number of instances, then obviously this particular report is very interesting and very useful to everyone. We can also have a detailed view, and you can see resource data type, what you have. You can create a resource data sync, and then you can pull lot deeper data for this particular inventory. Then we'll go to compliance. Compliance is nothing but it's about a software patches. Okay, so in terms of software patches, if you look at the compliance now, currently the compliance resources is 1. So it has already installed all the packages as per the standards, and it is in the compliance resources now. So let me just go back to the patch here. So this shows only the compliance report, how many of your instances are currently available for the patching, how many are successful, how many are in what state. So if I just go here, and if I click on this, uh, patch, see here, you do not have any thing, so all the it's all updated, it's compliant, so it is not giving any status as such. Yeah, it's giving a detailed inventory about it. I just click on that EC2 instance ID and it's giving a description, what role it has taken, what is the key pair and everything as part of the inventory. And the inventory it is showing what all the different softwares that I have installed on that architecture and everything. It gives a lot of details. See, right? And what all the tags have been assigned, then associations, patches, last updated needed, nothing is done. Okay, so these are the different inventory that you will get from the manage instances. So let me go back to patch manager and show you something. So in the patch manager you have something called as the batch baseline. Now what is patch baseline? Baseline is nothing but you want to mention that these are the set of um, patches and is your baseline for all your EC2s. Okay, and that's what you mention as part of your baselines. And if you look at it here, for different versions of the Linux it has a different baseline. So Oracle Linux, Debian, Windows, Ubuntu, Amazon, Amazon 2 and all. Okay, and this is the default one. So I'll just click on this Amazon EC2 and it will show me. So there are also approvals. So you do not want to you. So let me just start from description. So this is a baseline ID, the description, when was it created, and what is the patch group's name, and what is the operating system that it supports. Then you have an approval rules. So you do not usually apply the patches immediately as soon as it is released, and that's why you have something called as the security classification and the severity. So based on the classification and severity you'll take a judgment how soon that patch has to be rolled out or to be installed on that EC2. So anything that is critical and important, so it waits 7 days before approving. So it means even after the patch is released by the respective vendor, for example Microsoft or Linux or Amazon, you still wait for 7 days before it actually applies to the EC2. And anytime you can come and look into this and you'll see how many patches are required to be done, to be updated. You'll see that. You can also have patch exceptions. Okay, now currently this is in a just a read mode because this is created by AWS and we cannot really modify anything. But you also have an exception. For example, you can take a call on saying that any kernel patches should not be updated on my EC2 on the production. So you can take a call on that. You can also specify the patch sources. Okay, so as I said, this is AWS default created uh, baseline, so we'll not be able to do anything here. For a testing purpose, let me just go to the patch manager and create a patch baseline ourselves. Let's create a patch baseline. I'll create a patch baseline. I have to give a name, description, and it will ask for an operating system. Let's say I choose Amazon Linux, and then I can also make this one as a default. It means all the Amazon Linux machines will see this one as your baseline for the patching. Then I can keep writing the rules. I can say product, the different versions of the Linux. Let's choose this. Okay, and severity. Let's say critical, and auto approval. Approve after how many days? Basically, approval means uh, how immediately, how soon it has to be updated onto the AC2 after the patch is generated or created by the OEMs. Okay, so you can specify after so many days, after probably 1 day, after 2 days, after 7 days, depending on your requirement. Okay, so you specify. Then classification, whether it is security patch or whether it is a bug fix patch, you can define these rules, right? And then you can also add multiple rules. It is not just one rule, you can add multiple rules. Then patch exceptions. So these are approved patches, these are rejected patches. Rejected means exceptions. For example, I do not want to update any patches related to kernel, which affects the kernel. Okay, any bug fixes, anything that is released as a patch, I do not want to um, approve, or I do not want to send it to the EC2 directly. Then you can mention it in the rejected patches. Then whether you want the dependency patches to be applied or not applied, so that is what you can choose here. Then you have a patch sources, you can add another patch source as well, from where it is coming, from the name, which product it is coming from, how it is coming. You can add these sources from where you are getting these patches. So you have all these different configurations that you can do if you want to set your own baseline. Otherwise, AWS has already set a pretty standard baseline for all the operating system that it supports. You can use one among them. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll say configure patching, and let's try to apply a patch. Okay, so you also have enter instance tags or instance manually, or the patch group. I'll choose this instances manually. Now I'll choose our server, and then you have an option wherein you can choose an existing maintenance window. Maintenance window can be configured uh, from actions and change maintenance window. So maintenance window, you can specify saying that I want to do all the patchings only during the night time, during my off peak hours, or maybe early in the morning during my off peak hours. All those windows can be specified under actions and change under my maintenance window. Or schedule a new maintenance window, you can do that as well. Or I can skip it. Skip it means you want to do it now currently. Okay, you have two options now. One is scan and install, or scan only. I can only scan and check if there are any patches due for installation. Let's do only scan now. And then additional settings, if there are anything, I'll just say configure patching. And now what baseline does it take? It takes this Amazon Linux, this baseline, because the EC2 that we have is an Amazon Linux 1, and we do not have any other baseline. We have this as a default baseline. So it just takes it and it goes and checks the patches accordingly. And now I'll come back and click on compliance, and you already have it compliant. So in terms of association, yes. In terms of patch, yes, it is compliant. So I can go and click on this, and it will show you overall severity patch is compliant as on this particular date. So I do not have anything as such to be patched to this particular EC2, right? This is the latest EC2 that we had taken. If at all, if we had any older EC2, then probably it would have come into this any of this non-compliant, and then after installing the patch, it would have been in a compliant state. So this is how you manage your patching using a systems manager, right? So these are the different services that we are seeing, and the final one that we will look at is a distributor. So what is a distributor? Distributor is a service within the system manager that will help you to push a particular package to remote EC2s. Now there are inbuilt packages here. There are 9-10 inbuilt packages which are already available, and you can also create a package here. Like for example, you have a software that you want to be create a package out of it. You can create a package. For this particular demo, let's go ahead with the package that we have called as CloudWatch agent. So this is an agent that is available for CloudWatch for an additional metrics monitoring of EC2. So what we will do now, first we will go and check whether we have this CloudWatch agent, or we'll just push it. You know that it is not there, so we'll just push it. To push it, I have to just click on that particular package, and I'll say install on one time, or I can also schedule it as well, right? So we'll say install one time. Yeah, and then if you look at this, it takes me to a run command option. So any packages that we have chosen for installation, it will internally execute this run command, and then it will install that package. Okay, so it will take me to the run command. I'll just specify manually that this is the agent, this is the Linux server on which I want to install, and then I will disable the S3 and CloudWatt notification, and I'll say run. Okay, yeah, with all these settings I just click on run, and it is in progress. Just refresh and see. It takes some time because it has to actually install the agent, so it will take some time. Yep, there we go. So it is successful. Yeah, the status is success. Let's quickly go back to our session manager. We already, I think I have it open here. Yes, there is one session running. So let me just go back to that session manager. There we go. So I'm already in the root. So let's try to check the status. Amazon CloudWatch agent. Yes, there we go. It is stopped. So I can start it. Yes, it is running. And if I do a status, yes, it is running. Yeah, so this is how it is. So this is how you actually install uh, using the packages using SSM. So we looked at the compliance, the inventory, the managed instances. Hybrid activation is basically on-premise and local AWS EC2 activations. Then session manager we looked at the run command, we looked at the state manager. State manager basically gives you the status of different activities that you have done. So you installed a package and then you did that, right? So it just gives that status. And then patch manager, we looked at the patch manager, the existing baselines and the creation of the baselines, and then finally we looked at the distributor as well, right? So these are the different services, important services from systems manager. There are other services as well, so we will have a different video to cover the other services. And yeah, that's it. And hope this video was helpful to you to understand how the systems manager work and how to install an agent and work with that. So do let us know your comments and the feedback, and thank you for watching this video.